Okay, so last session we learned about bootstrap related few components. In that, we learned about how to work with bootstrap buttons, right? Okay, so we learned about alerts, how to use alerts, and one more buttons. So alerts and button components, how to design. Next, important in bootstrap components, we have another is cards. Cards. Already we know cards. Let me install here. Install bootstrap. And npm install bootstrap icons. And one more is jQuery. npm install jQuery. Okay. So index.html, fine. So in the design of cards, already we designed some card like when we learned about display flex, display grid like options. Here ready-made classes are present. So for cards, we have classes like, so bootstrap card, we have classes like one is card, another one is card header, card body, card footer, card title, and card subtitle. We have like card text. And we have like card image top, card image overlay. These are the options for cards. Card image top, card image overlay. So earlier some more options were there, but now we use alternative. Earlier in old versions, we have options like card deck, but now we don't have this. Actually, card deck is used for arranging all cards side by side like flex. But now we can use display options for keeping in flex. We have to use display flex and options for keeping in a correct way. So how these options are used, let's see. Means how we can design and work with these options. For that, first I'm designing a document, head, title, some cards, and let's link relation style sheet href, node modules, that is bootstrap dist CSS bootstrap.css. One more is style sheet and node modules, bootstrap icons, font icon CSS. And in the body, script source is node modules, jQuery dist, jQuery JS. Actually, for cards, we don't need any jQuery, but for other components, we need them. Bootstrap in that dist JS bootstrap bundle JS. That is the option. Now here, in order to design the cards, we are creating a div. First, bootstrap you are using means we will put the class container fluid for body section, and in the div we want this is main container. Initially inside it we will create cards. So this div, this is a container, we want like a card, then we can apply the class called card. Usually card have 3 sections. So one section, every section is designed with div. One section is class card header, and another section is class card body, and another section is class card footer. 3 sections are there. No need to explain. You know the meaning of header, body, and footer. Top margin, that is header, bottom margin, footer. It's your wish. Sometimes we design cards with only header. Sometimes we design with only body. Sometimes only body and footer. That's your wish. You want all 3 sections or any specific, that depending on your requirement. So it's not mandatory that you have to use all these sections in a card. So card header, body, and footer. Now, if you want any image, you can keep anywhere. In header, you can keep an image. In body, you can keep an image. Usually it will be in header and body. Images and all, we keep them in header and body. For example, let's go here and here search for some images or we will use Amazon. In this, we will pick up some images for cards, displaying of cards. Suppose let's add deals and snipe these options here. Means these are all cards only. They are arranged side by side. I will use a snip. Yeah. Let's capture this. I'm just copying this much of image, save. So this is some mobile. I'm creating this in our folder, public, and let's say images. And mobile, it's a PNG file. Okay, next another, this is another image. Save some laptop. Okay, and another image. Yeah, some save. This is another copy. So band, neck band. Yes, so here we have another image. Few images are there. desktop. Okay. Now we want to display them in the page. So let's go here. Card header, I'm adding so a heading, and here I defined some product name. Suppose I say boat like this. So some neck band, something like this. And here I'm giving some paragraph, some information about it. So we are adding some paragraph. So I will just put some 50% off something. In the card body, so we want some image. I will put an image source, images, some neckband. Now here we have card footer. Suppose I am adding a button, class BTN danger and W100. And here we put a span, class BI cart, some, and we will put some add to cart. This is one card, and usually the card appearance will be in this way. That is the card. Only one card is there, width. If you want to adjust the width, so what we will do is for every card, we will define a specific width style. We have a class called card. So for that width, I given as some 250 pixel. So that is the width of the card. It will be like this. Now suppose 300 pixel. Okay, it will be in this way. Now we need to fit this image inside the card. We need to keep that image inside the card. Actually, we can define width in this way also. Here we can apply, or we can directly write here W25. Already we learned different width are there. Now that width will keep like this. But this image should fit into it. So for that, actually, for images, we have a class called card image. We have overlay. Overlay is used to keep image on the top of all the contents, but we don't want like that. So we don't want image on the top of all the contents. Overlay is nothing but we learned Z index will come to top. I don't want like that, because here I want just the image to fit into it. Then we can apply the class as W25, same. That means it will be width 25 of that card. To fit into it correctly, we can keep W100. That means it fits correctly into the card. Width correctly fits into the card. Because card width is 25, inside that 100 means the position is relative. Image position is relative. Relative to which element? Card element. So here, so I'm giving some heading like today's deals. Okay. And here I'm adding that. Now this is the card we defined. Now we have some more classes actually. So this is can be defined, heading can be defined as card title. We can define this paragraph as class card subtitle. If there is something ordinary text, suppose below the image we have a paragraph, some price I given as some 2000, like this. Suppose ampersand hash 8377, like this. Now we can keep this as class as card text. So that will display it in a card style with that. Just appearance will be changing. For title, font size changed. Subtitle different will be there depending on what you want to configure. And sometimes image can be top, image can be bottom, image can be in the middle. Wherever you want, you can keep. So if image is top, we have a special class for that. For example, let's design another card. I will copy this. I will add another card. So here I will define as some laptop. So, and some of, and here we are taking image laptop PNG and some price like this. And you see here we have another option. We have another image. We have another image. Now I want this top. I want this image top. So here it is there. And we will keep one more option. For every card, we will keep margin as some 2. Okay. That means every card margin 2, some space will be there. Between every card, some space will be adjusted. Now I want to keep these 2 cards side by side. They are present in one container. Both cards are in one container. For this, we can use the class dflex. Another option, we learned about flex wrap. We can give flex wrap. So this will keep your content arranged side by side. You can have all these elements designed. Earlier, we have to write our own classes manually and design them. Now you can have ready-made classes. See, now I will move that image. This image I am removing and keeping at the top of header. If you keep at the top in the header area, when you keep at the top here, no need to give the width. Suppose I remove the width. Now you see the image looks like this. Any image, if you want to keep, suppose I will keep top of header inside the card. Top of header inside the card, it looks like this. Now to fit correctly at the top, what we do is we will keep a class called card image top. Card image top, it will keep it correctly fit onto the top. It will keep correctly fit into the top. That means width will be correctly adjusted. Remember, now I haven't given width 100%. Previously, if I don't give width 100%, it was out of the card. Now, if I use card image top, then automatically it will fit into it. It will fit. Height, if you want, you can adjust the height. Manually, you can change the width and height. But if you want to fit into it, then you have to define card image top. So depend on your requirement. Suppose I'm adding one more option, copy, and this is another div. So here in the images, we have an image mobile. So here I given as mobiles, some 60, 50 or 60% off. Some starts from, so starts 10,000, something like this we define. Now you can see these are the images we are having. And it is a flexible display. That means you kept in a flex wrap. According to the height and width, they will adjust. I am adjusting the width. Automatically, they will fit accordingly. That means when you are adjusting the width, they are fit. And you know how we can display into next line, how we can keep side by side, latest one top. Already we learned about wrapping options we can define. But the main intention is for cards, you have ready-made classes. And how you want to display the image. Sometimes In cards, you can see images are in a circle. If images are in a circle, that's also same. What we have to do, already we learned for image, we can define for image, we can define a border, we can define rounded, we can define as a border primary, and we can define several other options for that. So you remembered we learned about rounded circle. Like this, you can apply the classes, border thickness and all. So we can display, we can put a background, we can put foreground. These are all just combination of other options that you have learned. Sometimes cards are seen in a rectangle, sometimes they are seen in a circle images. That is combination of other options we are using here. So earlier, to keep all the cards, we have a separate option called card deck. But now in latest version of Bootstrap, that is managed by flex mode. That means, so note here, card deck is removed from Bootstrap 5. You have to use display flex options, flex classes. You have to use display flex classes. That is card deck. Example, I will post this. Already I uploaded a Bootstrap file. You have seen the document, right? In the document, all these components, examples are there. Class names, examples, everything is there, right? Next, these are cards. So we have alerts and we have cards. Next, important while working with these Bootstrap, we have Bootstrap models. Bootstrap models. Already we learned about alerts. What is the problem with alerts is, alert is embedded in page, integrated into the page. It is embedded in the page. Bootstrap models are nothing but, so these are a model is a dialogue. Model is a dialogue. You know the meaning of dialogue already. Dialogue, that means you can turn on and off. You can turn on and off. So dialogue pops up in a page, pops up in a page to display message or to handle any interaction. To display message or handle any interaction. So for that, you have some important classes. So what are the classes? We have model. It is also having sections. So model header, model body, model footer. We have a model dialog and model content. Recently, we have model full screen, and we have model dialog centered. So these are combinations actually. So you can use show and fade. These are the classes. Actually, show is used for all several options. It is used to on display. Fade, it provides fading effect. It provides fading effect. You also have model title and model text. These are used for displaying models. So simple options here. Let's see. So remember, it completely depends on jQuery. So jQuery files must be installed. jQuery files must be linked to your page. Previously, cards will work without jQuery also. Only CSS can handle. So how it works? Let's see. So we will go into this. Let's rename this as cards. Okay. I will upload these examples also, the page that we designed. I will copy all the code. Another one is models.html. I will paste the body. I will clean up. Okay. Here we are giving a heading, some models. Okay. We can have here a button. So register. And we have another button, login. We have the class BTN and BTN primary. And here also we have the class BTN and BTN success. Okay, so these are the classes we are having. Now when user clicks register, a registration form should pop up. I don't want it to occupy in the page. So I want to display as a pop-up so that user can enter the details and close. In the background, you can keep some content available. In the foreground, it will pop up and display message. These already we saw. Means in websites, you click on a chart option. So from chart with our 24/7. So you click on that, a pop-up will come. You can enter the details and configure. So how we can create such pop-ups? Simple. In the page, you can keep anywhere. There is no order. You can keep anywhere and you can handle it. So here we create a div and we call it as model with a class called model. And in a page, there can be several models. Then every model should have a ID. Unique reference. This is register model. This is register model. Okay. You can create several models. So first we will create that register model. And here we have a div. In the model, first there is order also. It's very important. Inside the model, first we have to create model dialog. First, there must be model dialog. Inside the model dialog, you have to keep a class model content. Model content. Inside the model content, now you can have sections, header, body, footer. Order is important. If you miss this dialog, or I told you that in card, you can have header, footer, or you can ignore them. You can just only put everything inside card. There is no need of header, footer, optional there. But here in model dialog is mandatory. And model dialog must be so above the content. That means all the content must be placed inside model dialog. Inside the content, you can have sections. Those are optional. You keep sections or you keep a simple heading, your wish. Sections, we can have model header. In the model header, I'm giving a heading. So register new user. And for this, you can keep a class called model title. And beside it, I will put a button. So button. I will show you without button how it works. Initially, this is header and we are designing another class that is model body. In the model body, so we are creating a data list, data term, some username, data definition, input type is equal to text. We haven't learned about forms, we will learn. After learning forms, you can display forms also effective way. So initially we haven't learned any forms. Now here we have password and input type is equal to password. Okay, then we have another data term, some email and input type is equal to email. Okay. Now below this, we have a button. This is model body. And below this, we will keep another class model footer. In the footer, we have a button register. For this, we will give the class BTN and BTN primary. Okay. Initially, this is the model. And usually models will not display in the page. Let's run this and see. Models are not there in the page. By default, they will not. Already you saw in the beginning, we learned dialog. When we write dialog, dialog will not display in the page. It requires an attribute called open. If you use open attribute, then it will open. Initially, I want this model to open on the register click. That means for register button, we have to write some jQuery attributes. Data BS toggle. Toggle indicates which component you want to on and off. Which component you want to on and off. What is the component name? Model. So data BS target. 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 So now target indicates which model you want to on and off. You said model. Okay. Remember, toggle always indicates which component. Is it alert? Is it model? Which component? Component name. And in that component, which specific component? So how you can refer that specific component by using target. Target is ID. You know how to access IDs. How do we access ID? Hash. hash na to access the ID. What is the ID? Register model. And IDs and all case sensitive. Capitalization matters. You have to write in the same case. jQuery, JavaScript, all are case sensitive. Exactly, you have to match the same case you are writing. Now see here, when I click on this register, then a model should come and display. Here, one more important, see, let's check. Some issues here. This is the model. The browser issue is that I recently updated my machine. That's the reason I haven't updated the latest browsers. Huh? That's now you have this model pops up. It comes and pops up. Now when it pops up, you can see this is the dialog. I click outside. So I click outside, then it will close. We don't want like that. We want a close button or we want a cancel button to use, right? Then what we do, I will close this browser. Okay. So what we have to do is here in the header, we have to use a button. So you know the class btn close, that is the class, and it should close. And to close anywhere, you have same attribute, data bs dismiss. Which one to dismiss? Model. That's it. And you can see now there is a close button here. There is a close. And I click on the close button, it will close. Model appears immediate. You can put an animation here, fade. Fade is an animation used for model. Now you see now when I click on it, register, then slowly comes. That means it will have some sliding like animation. So close. I click on it, you can see it slowly comes. That is fade. Fade effect we can define. You can close or you can put one more. Suppose, so in the footer, we have button class as btn and btn danger. And here we defined as cancel. Now this cancel also should close. Same logic. What you have to do, data bs dismiss, dismiss what? Model. Now you can see this will dismiss cancel button, and I click on cancel, it will dismiss. Generally, when you are designing these type of models, so we can keep this model come correctly centered. So for that, we have some classes. What you can do is for model dialog, we can keep, so this is model dialog. So we can use like model dialog centered. Model dialog centered, usually it is used for displaying in the center. Correctly, it will come into the screen center. Now recently what happened is model dialog. So they given an option here. So model full screen. Full screen is a new option actually. But this problem is it is not supported in few browsers. I will tell you later how it works in various, because generally if any jQuery feature is not working, full screen and all, Windows browser window related issues will come. Browser window related issues will come. To overcome these issues, we need to use some compatibility options. I will tell you. In jQuery, you will learn about that. Now it's too early. So, but one option newly added is so model full screen. What is the purpose of model full screen is it is going to display entire screen. These fade and show options are not related to model. You can use anywhere, wherever you want, you can use. Now, this is one model. You can have any number of models in a page. For example, I want another model, then what to do here? I can design another model. This is class model. What is the order now? We will give fade. And what is the ID? This is login model. And here I am writing some heading. First container, what we should have in the container, we should have a model dialog. It is mandatory. After that, we should have a model content. In that, you can have model header, class model header. In that, we have a heading. So user login. And here I defined some user ID password, like these two options I am defining. So these two only user ID password. And we will create another, that is model footer. So div class as model footer. And here I will define a button. So class btn primary, and say login. This also should have a close button, and we will put the button. This we can keep in body section. Yeah, we will keep in the body section. Class dialog, that is model body. In that we have this button will have the class btn close. That's it. And here we have data bs dismiss model. Remember, every close button dismiss will work for that model only. That is the reason you don't need to give any ID and reference for close. It will work for that particular context. So now this login should fire up when user clicks the second button. That means here, what are the attributes we have to define? Data BS toggle. Toggle is what? Model. Data BS target. Target is what? Login model. That's what we have to define. Now you can see login will get the login model. It's a login ID hash na login model is there. Anywhere misspelled, target spelling wrong. Yeah, fine. Now it is going to access that and display. This is the login model and close. And this is the register model. So we have these models according to the display. We can keep it center. So we can keep it so top. Default it is top. You can keep it center. You can keep it full screen. So model dialogues, we also have an option called scrollable. Model dialog can be scrollable. You also have model dialog scrollable. But this scrollable will work if there is content more than screen. If there is content more than screen, then you can use scrollable. So syntactically, first, what are the order options we have to define? Div class is model. Order I am just giving. And another div class model dialog. That is the order. Then div, we have the class, that is So model content. Inside the content, you can have sections. So inside the content, you can give model sections. Model sections means header, body, footer. Now, in the recent, one more option is model SM and model LG. So these are new classes for size. SM and LG already we know, small and large. Right. Those are the options. So here one more note is model dialog is mandatory for models. Model dialog is mandatory. Right. Actually, model dialog, you see, so we defined some center. We have model dialog scrollable. Model dialog scrollable is used for displaying scrollable content actually. But for that, you need to have more content. So later I will show you forms concept. Suppose temporarily, so we are adding not data terms. Just inside this, we will add. Okay. This data terms I am copying. That means you have a lot of fields inside the model. Then scrollable will keep this scroll bar. Otherwise, scrollable is not displayed. So otherwise, what happens is the model will go outside the screen. That means you are not giving scrollable. Model dialog not scrollable. So if it is not scrollable, then it contains outside the screen. Then what you have to do, you have to use the main page scroll bar. Using page scroll bar is difficult because when you are watching on mobiles and all, that is difficult. So that is the reason better you keep it as a scrollable. So if you keep model dialog scrollable, then if more contents are there, you can scroll inside this body area itself. It is nothing but overflow, it will set to auto. Overflow auto, then automatically scroll bar will come. So this is one example how we can design models. And one more note you have to note is Bootstrap 5. Bootstrap 5 disabled nested models. They have removed this nested models. Nested model is nothing but model inside model. Nested models removed actually. Earlier, people used to design a model inside another model, a dialogue inside another dialogue. Dialogue inside another dialogue causing a lot of issues to the browsers. That is the reason now browsers disabled them. Bootstrap completely removed this approach. They always recommend don't use model inside model. Model inside model means already model open. In that you kept another button. You say pop up inside the model. It's not possible. People have to design that few years back, but now those are completely disabled. Even browser don't support. You have seen models are not supported in a old version browser. You have to upgrade to the new. Several features are not supported. So that is the reason when you are configuring models, don't use any nested models. Nested. That is example. This is example I will copy for your reference sake. This is, so this is models. So we have cards, we have dialogues, cards and models. Next important, we have bootstrap forms. Bootstrap forms. In forms also, lot of changes happened when compared to older version. Several new things introduced into bootstrap forms. So that is nothing but how you want to display a form and controls inside the form. For that, we have some classes like form control. It is used for text box, password, date, email, URL, so number. For all of them, we use form control. For all such controls, we use that. Earlier, form control was used for even radio buttons, drop downs, sliders, but now some new classes came. So we have classes like form select. Form select, it is used for select element. Select element means drop down list box. This is select element that is used for select element. You have options like form input range. This is used for, so range input. Form input range. So we have option like combination. Base class is actually form range. This is also for range input. So form control, form select, form input, and we have form label. Form label. And label, right? That is the base class. We also have form control label. Dependencies will be there, how they are accessed. Form control label. Actually, we have a form switch which is new. Form check and form check input. The form switch is used for checkbox. This is used for labels. Form check is for checkbox and radio. Form check input is for both checkbox and radio. We have form check label. Label for checkbox checkbox, and radio. These are the options. Earlier we used to have like form, group, and all. Now we don't use them very much. So designing of forms have all these options, right? Ready-made classes are there. For example, see, suppose how to create a form in a correct way. Technically, how we can create in a correct way, let's see. That means what is the order actually? I will create forms HTML. Let's paste this and clean up all this code. Okay, so here I'm designing a div class dflex, display flex, justify, content center, align items center. And here we have style height as some 500 pixel. Okay. In this, we have a container, and this container have a heading, register user. Here to design forms, we have a div, means how to design professionally forms. What is the order? First, we have a div. This is one category. So this category contains a label. So user name. Under that label, you have to create another div. This is professional order of designing form. Under that label, so we have to put a text box for label. Input type is equal to text. And this label is for this text box. This text box is having a name, username, and this label is for the text box. Then we use an attribute for username. This is binding the label with that particular control. That is very professionally important. In real-time form designs, when you design a label, that should bind with the control that you are working with. So for is an attribute. This attribute is used to bind the label to this control. So then this belongs to one category. This is one category. Similarly, we design another div. And here we have a label. This label is for, so password. Here we return some password. And another div. So we have input type is equal to password. Name is equal to password. Okay. This is another container. Just temporarily, I will add another div. Later we will add another control. So here we have a button, say register. Now usually this form looks in this way. Forms HTML page. It looks in this way. The form looks in this way. There is no separate appearance for that. Observe carefully now. Here, let's apply some classes. We want space between every container, means every category. Earlier, we used to have a class called form group. This is now not there. This is now not there. Earlier, we have a form group which will group the categories so that it will have good space between. Now this form group is removed and it is now managed by using class. We have margin top. margin top or margin bottom. Margin bottom 2. So this also have a class margin bottom 2. This is also having a class margin bottom 2 if there is something below it. Otherwise not required. Then it will give good space between them. That means username category space, password space, register space. Earlier we have a separate class called form group. Now it is not there. So you have to use this margin top or margin bottom. Next point, for the labels, we have a class form label. That is the base class. This form label class will give some space. Will give some space between the label and the text box. You see, password is immediately after that, immediately password box came. We want some space. Then for labels, we use a class called form label. Form label. Now it will have some space between that. Now for text box, passwords and input, we use a class. For text box, we use a class called form control. Form control. For password also, we use a class. For password also, we use a class form control. Form control. Now you can see buttons, we have the class BTN and BTN primary and W100. And see the form controls, and this is text boxes. Now the text box looks like this. This is a text box. This is for username. This is for password. A rounded corner. So, and when I click, it gets focus. All such effects are defined through the form control. Form control. Now here, so this is form control is for text box, password, date, email, URL, numbers. For all of them, you can use form control. But earlier, in old version, drop down also uses form control only. But now they change it to form select. Suppose I am adding one more category. Class margin bottom 2. What is the label? Class form label. And for this is city. Below that we have a div and we have a select. And select is having an option, some select your city. And in that we have option, some option. Okay. Now you can see usually select looks ordinary like this. And here I will use a label. So form label. So what is the point here is when you are defining, so this is select. So this is for name. Name is what? City. So you have an option, select your city. Label is choose city. Okay. Now this is the option, choose city. Now the drop down looks like this. So for drop down, we have to use the class form select. Form select is the class, and you can see it will display in this way. That means its appearance changes. Its appearance changes. Earlier we used to use form control only. Even today, when you see several websites, because they are using old version of Bootstrap, you will see form control for drop downs also. Actually, form control looks like this, same, rounded, but drop down is missing. There is no drop down for that. Drop down is not there. So that is the reason now new option is form select. Form select you have to define, then it will be good. So for drop downs, you have this. You have. Now suppose I'm giving this margin top. That means some space will come here. Okay. Now another option is if you are designing input type range check boxes, we have different classes. Margin bottom 2, I will put a label here. I will say, suppose, so some option like you want subscription, like this, subscription, you want subscription, and we have a div, and we have input type equal to checkbox, and here we have a label. So yes, like this. This is the correct design. Actually, this checkbox have a name as subscribe, and this should work for label should work for, we have the class form label, and this is for subscribe. And here we are defining checkbox. Checkbox looks like this. Checkbox is ordinary, so it looks like this. Already in the form designing itself, I told you, if you remembered, latest checkbox have a different appearance. So what you can do is, for this checkbox, actually we have to use a class called form check input. For this label, we have to use a class called form check label. So that is the class. Appearance of checkbox will change a little bit. Some space will come, and so appearance of checkboxes will change. Now, if you want to turn this checkbox into a switch, then you have an option wherever you kept the checkbox. So this is the container having the checkbox. For that container, if I make it form switch, then it will turn into switch like this. Now the checkbox changes into a switch on and off. Earlier we don't have this. The new Bootstrap have a new checkbox appearance. For that, you can use this. You can select and you can define this option. So this is, for this you need form switch. If form switch is not designed, then it will work as ordinary checkbox. That form switch is used to make it like a switch. You can turn on and off. So while designing the forms, these are important. So we have option for sliders also. Suppose we are designing a slider, div class margin bottom 2, and we have a label. So select age. So here, so class form label, and below we have a div input type is equal to range. Actually this range, so for label for age, and the name is equal to age, and range will look like this. It will be like this. I already told you that depending on different browsers, appearance will change. Again, browser issues will be there. Actually, for that we have an option. So class, you can apply a class called form range. Form range, actually it changes that appearance into a slider. But this browser is showing just like an ordinary slider button is there. Let's go, that's the old browser actually. In the new version of browsers, so that appearance will be in this way. That is the slider. That is the range. Actually, this is slider. It have a different form appearance style. Suppose you are not giving the form range, then its appearance will be like this. Its appearance is like this. This is ordinary appearance. This is the ordinary appearance. Now the bootstrap appearance is this. With the bootstrap, it looks like this now. Like this. However, I told you the values will not show. Depending on browser, you see, suppose this is another browser. In this browser, so here also that bar is not displayed. In Internet Explorer, it can show value, but in other browsers, it cannot show value. So that you have to manage with JavaScript only. So these are new. Actually, in old version, all controls are designed by using one form control only. All are designed with one form control. But now you have several options. You have to choose according to which element you are using. So any element which is taking text, passwords, like, then you better go with form control. Even you can use this for text area also. That means you can apply this form control for text area. Text area is not a general input type. Text area is a separate form element which allows multi-line text. For that, we can apply the form control. That is the bootstrap forms, how you can define. This is another example for this bootstrap options. So this is another example for that. Right. Now, here comes one more option. Once you know form, then we can go with actually input group that we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will do. If you can use this input group is nothing but this is the solution for your questions. Like generally beside this, I want username symbol. For password, you will see beside it key symbol will come. So that means suppose input group is nothing but we can design like this. Suppose see Amazon. So, and you can see here, this is a form and this is input group. Input group means form elements look like combined with each other, attached to each other. This we will able to design by using form input group. Not only that, we saw Netflix page na, Netflix, and in this Netflix page, you can see this Netflix page. This is also form input only. So this is also form input. But remember, this text box is not bootstrap text box. They are using a separate text box called React material, because this website is designed in React.js. Netflix entirely designed in React.js. So that text box is React text box. That is React text box. We can use that. That is people who are learning that they can. Already I told you, Angular people, React people have some additional bootstrap like components ready-made. In general UI development, we use bootstrap. In advanced, we use those third parties, which makes more better. But they are also limited. You need a combination of both bootstrap and those third parties, right? Tomorrow we will see how to design this, how we can create them, right?